might mix his pitches as effectively, if not more so. And you also have to wonder, does the 19-game winning streak put a lot of pressure on this team, more than you'd expect from just a championship game?
Well, we're looking forward to an excellent ball game. Two clubs from the same conference playing in the Skyland Conference, and of course two old rivals from the old Mid-State Conference, Somerville and Watchung Hills. We'll be back with the starting lineups and the opening pitch of the 92 Somerset County Championship game in just a moment. And welcome back to North Plainfield. Lou Brogno along with Pete Haskell. Glad you could join us for our Channel 6 production of the 1992 Somerset County Baseball Championship game. We're looking forward to an excellent ball game tonight. It is a lovely evening, as we mentioned. The temperature has dropped considerably, and it's very comfortable for high school baseball this evening. And fortunately for the Somerset County tournament and some great foresight, they play this game in the evening, because this afternoon, the searing heat, it was 94 degrees at one time, and Pete, that would have been brutal weather for high school baseball.
I think, forget the players, the fans would have been dropping like flies out here. It was a little bit excessive, and as you mentioned, just the ideal evening for baseball. Very comfortable, you don't need a jacket, no breeze, and just seems to be ideal weather.
Let's talk about these two clubs a little bit. Somerville, under head coach Rick Sable, 17-6 on the year. They are the number 2 seed in the Somerset County tournament. So this tournament has taken the form just as everyone saw it would, number 2 versus number 1.
The only really change, even in the semis, was Bridgewater Raritan, which fell to Watchung Hills. The Panthers were seeded number 13. Meanwhile, Somerville knocked off a 3rd-seeded Immaculata. That was a big come-from-behind victory in that game, and really showed something about Somerville, the ability to come from behind. And as we mentioned in the open, Kurt Smith really keeping Immaculata off balance and coming up with that big victory.
The umpires are going over the grounds rules with the captains and the coaches from Somerville and Watchung Hills. If you've never been to Crouch Field in North Plainfield, we should tell you that it is a pitcher's paradise. It is a long way to the fence. I mean, a long way. Center field is you don't want to use the word impossible, but nearly an impossible shot. I mean, it's got to be 550 feet, the deep center.
You look at the dimensions. Down the right field line, it's 358. Down the left field line is 361, and straightaway center is about 1.5 miles. You consider 358 and 361 at Shea Stadium, which is where the Mets play, a major league ballpark. It's 338 down the line. So this exceeds by 20 feet down one line and more than 20 feet down the other.
And this game, the start time is 8 p.m. Therefore, you would think that the pitchers will have a great advantage early part of the game until the lights take effect here. And that has been the case over the years in the Somerset County Championship game. You couple the long distance of the fence and, of course, the fine pitching that you do get with the hurlers on the mound, and then, of course, the start time, usually a pitcher's game.
One of those things, they always talk about that during the Major League Baseball All-Star game, during that twilight time, very difficult. And if, for example, the right fielder is looking in, he might have some problems, probably more so than the left fielder, because the sun is setting out really down the left field line. So if he looks toward home plate, might have a little trouble out there.
All right, Watchung Hills has taken the field, and we're going to give you the Somerville batting order. This is the order that will face right-hand pitcher Ben Matzel. For the Pioneers, leading off, the catcher is Eric Elena. Very interesting. You don't see too many catchers leading off, but he will do it for Somerville. Craig Fast, the first baseman, hits second. Mike Bergen is the shortstop. Bergen hits third. Ron Mosher, the designated hitter, will hit in the cleanup spot. Matt Hoyta, the third baseman, hits fifth. Sek Milich, the left fielder, bats sixth. Brian Sutton is the center fielder. He'll hit seventh. John Davenhall, the right fielder, hits eighth. Mike Manning is the Somerville second baseman, and he'll bat ninth. So the top three are Elena, Fass, and Bergen. The middle three, Mosher, Hoyta, and Milich. And the last three, Sutton, Davenhall, and Manning. Here is the Watchung Hills defense, and the Warriors line up like this on the field. At first base is Anthony Benish, and we'll talk about him a little bit later on. Mike Cox is around at second, and Joe Paulchon is the shortstop. Brian Ronaldo the third baseman for the Warriors. In left field, it's Jim Bach. Dan Kapsack has a lot of territory to cover in center, and the right fielder is Greg Urban. The Watchung Hills catcher, Greg Mobus, and on the mound, sophomore right-hander Ben Matzel, 8-0 this year. As a freshman, he was a first-team all-county pitcher, which is incredible. He was 7-2 with a 1.28 earned run average. You make all-county as a freshman, and I think you're looking at quite a career in front of you.
And you know that Mario Diaz, the head coach for Watchung Hills, has to have a big smile on his face knowing that he's got 2 more years with Ben Matzel, who has had 2 outstanding years in his first 2 seasons of high school baseball.
We mentioned Somerville's won 4 straight. Watchung Hills has won 19 straight games. They lost their season opener to Westfield, and after that they have reeled off 19 consecutive victories. You'd be hard-pressed to find a hotter team in the state than Watchung Hills.
You always have to wonder, though, at what point does the pressure really start to mount and do the players really start to feel it? We'll probably get an idea watching this game tonight.
All right, here we go. Eric Elena steps in, big right-handed hitter to lead off, and he looks at a strike on the inside corner. No balls, 1 strike. The home plate umpire is veteran umpire Joe Oranchak. He has called many championship games in both the Somerset County tournament and the GMC as well. He's a good one. There's another strike as Matzel takes something off of that one. No balls, 2 strikes. And of course, the key to being a successful pitcher on any level, be it high school or major leagues, is to get ahead of the hitters, and that's what Matzel does well. 0-2 pitch is in the dirt, and Mobus plays it in front of him. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count.
You mentioned how unusual it is for a catcher to be hitting leadoff, and you're right, it is very unusual. Matt Hoyda had been the leadoff hitter most of the season. He is now batting 5th. Alina and Hoyda flip-flopped. Hoyda went back to number 5. Alina went up to number 1. And since that time, Somerville hasn't lost. So head coach Rick Sable saying, if it works, stick with it.
And it has been working very successfully for the Pioneers in recent times. There's a pitch, must have been inside, and the count evens at 2-2. There was some heat on that one as Matzel brought it to the plate quickly.
And you got an idea right there just how hard Ben Matzel can throw the ball.
And remember, with that fastball coming in this kind of light, very difficult to pick the pitch up. There's strike 3 at the knees, and there's 1 away. First strikeout of the game for Ben Matzel.
Well, I tell you, Eric Alina didn't even offer a swing at that one. If you're a manager or a coach, whatever the situation may be, you want to see a guy protecting the plate with 2 strikes, and Alina didn't do it, knew it, and just went right back to the dugout.
All right, here's Craig Fass. He's the Somerville first baseman, hitting second. Coach Sable's lineup, he grounds a foul off the third base side.
I have a feeling we're going to be seeing a lot of that. Players unable to get around on that fastball and going the other way with not too much on it.
Good crowd here tonight at North Plainfield. Most of the fans sitting on the first base side. That's where the football bleachers are here at Crouch Field. This is both a baseball and football field for the Canucks. Here's the pitch, it's high, and the count 1-1.
Craig Fass last year was an all-conference designated hitter. This year, he's getting the opportunity at first base.
Here's the 1-1 delivery, fouled straight back and off the backstop, and the count is 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Again, we see that Matzel is throwing very hard, and on the first batter, Alina, we saw a real good off-speed pitch, but aside from that one pitch, we've seen mostly fastballs early on.
And Matzel, of course, trying to take advantage, I would think, of the lighting conditions, get that smoker to the plate. Here's the 1-2 pitch, took something off, swing and a miss. Strike 3. So Matzel's off to an impressive start as he strikes out the first 2 batters he faces. And here comes Mike Bergen, the Somerville shortstop, and he is a good ball player. Number 3 hitter in the lineup, very good football player as well. Played wide receiver for the Pioneers.
And Bergen is the leading hitter on the club. He's hitting .406 on the season. But I tell you, seeing your first 2 teammates walking back to the bench like that, going up number 3, you have to be wondering what you're going to be up against.
Mike has 1 home run as he looks at a strike. 1 home run, 21 RBIs, and as Pete mentioned, he is hitting a Impressive, 406.
Well, generally your number 3 hitter is your best hitter, and that's certainly the case here.
Swing and a miss and an off-speed pitch in the dirt. And Matzel had Bergen fooled. The count is 0-2.
You look to see if a pitcher is on in the early going, and from all indications, Ben Matzel is on.
0-2 the count. 2 outs in the first. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Hit the bat. And it remains 0-2.
A little high heat there.
Yeah. At first I thought perhaps it might have gotten a piece of Bergen, but it did tip off the bat.
He is thrown hard.
The outfield is straight away and fairly deep in center and left. Of course, deep here is midway in center.
Very difficult to get an accurate perspective as to exactly how deep the outfielders are playing, because that fence is so far away.
Ground ball hit to second. Cox has it, throws to first. That'll do it. For the Pioneers in the first, no runs, no hits, and nothing left. In the middle of the first, Somerville nothing. Watchung Hills coming to bat. Somerville is on the field, and their fireballing pitcher, senior Kurt Smith, is on the mound. Here's the Watchung Hills lineup that he will face. Leading off the shortstop is Joe Paultjohn. Mike Cox, the second baseman, bats second. Jim Box in left field, he'll hit third. Brian Ronaldo, the third baseman, bats cleanup. Dan Capsack, the center fielder, hits fifth. Greg Urban is the right fielder. He'll bat sixth. Scott Soletto, the designated hitter, hits seventh. Ben Matzel, the pitcher, eighth. And Anthony Benish, the first baseman, bats ninth. So the top three are Paultjohn, Cox, and Bach. Ronaldo, Capsack, and Urban, the middle three. Soletto, Matzel, and Benish, the bottom three. The Somerville defense lines up behind Smith like this. Fass is at first, Manning at second. Bergen is the shortstop. Hoyt is at third. The outfield is Milich in left, Sutton in center, Davenhall around in right. Elena is the catcher, and on the mound, senior Kurt Smith. 4-2 on the year, and he has a, quote, overpowering fastball, unquote, according to most of the Skyland Conference managers and coaches who have faced him this year. He gets it to the plate in a big hurry.
And from what we hear, he throws it harder than 80 miles an hour, which is really saying something.
There's a pitch inside. Ball one. Paultjohn watched that pitch all the way into the catcher's mitt, and I think he raised his eyebrows a little bit when he walked out of there.
I think he said, yep, looked like about 80 or more.
Here's another fastball, and it's outside, 2-0. Paultjohn hitting at 298. The Watchung Hills shortstop.
He's the kind of guy you want to keep off base. Very, very good speed, a good table setter.
Here's the 2-0. There's a strike in the count, 2-1. Kurt Smith, Kurt Smith with a big win last week, beating Immaculata in the semifinals 3-2. There's another strike, 2-2. Interesting in that game, Pete, though, Smith, a prolific fastball pitcher, and he beat Immaculata basically with off-speed stuff and curves.
One of those situations where, again, as you mentioned, what makes a pitcher good is staying ahead and keeping batters off balance.
It's fouled off the first base side.
We are certainly expecting a pitcher's duel, and from what we have seen, at least through the top half of the first inning, and with this first batter in the bottom of the first, pitchers seem to be on their game.
2-2 the count. No outs, bottom of the first. Ground ball hit to short, hit hard, but scooped up by the shortstop Bergen. He throws to first. Got him. Nice play by Mike Bergen, the Somerville shortstop. And then heading down the first base line, Paultjohn tripped over the bag and could have been injured, but he seems to be okay.
We're going to keep an eye out and see how many of the batters are able to pull the ball. That time it was Polchon able to go to the left side, but as we saw in the top of the first, and when Bergen grounded out, he went to the right side.
Mike Cox looks at a strike. No balls, 1 strike. When Joe Rancher calls a strike, there is no doubt about it.
You like that in an umpire? Very decisive and vocal.
The 0-1. Swing and a miss as he swings at an off-speed pitch. 0-2.
There was that first off-speed pitch.
That's got to be tough when you're standing in there against a pitcher you know is throwing up over 80 miles per hour, and then he pulls the string on you. Pretty hard to defense against that. Here's the 0-2. Ground ball hit the short. Nice hop for Bergen. He fires across the diamond, and there's 2 away.
Well, Cox able to get it to the left side, but didn't get too much aluminum on the ball, and neither of the first 2 batters able to get much of the ball, though both of them able to go to the left side.
Mike Cox, by the way, was hitting before that at bat. 542. 542?
Gives you an idea when you win 19 in a row, you're doing a lot of hitting.
That's a tremendous average, obviously. Here's Jim Bach. He's the Watchung Hills left fielder. And he swings, and it goes off of the glove of the catcher, Elena. Bach hitting .318 on the year.
He was first-team all-conference and all Somerset County last year, a 3-year starter with the Warriors.
Left-handed hitter, 0-1. Takes a curveball high, and the count 1 ball, 1 strike.
Smith early on obviously wanting to show off that fastball. These 2 teams did not meet this season. Now mixing them up just a little bit more.
Almost offered, but the pitch was high. And Elena checks with the third base umpire, but no call is made. And the count is 2 balls and a strike. 2 outs here, nobody on.
When you throw high heat like Smith does, it's even a little bit more imposing for the batters.
It's fouled away. And back towards the concession stand here at Crouch Field. By the way, if you've never eaten here at North Plainfield, excellent food at the hut, as they call it, the Crouch Field hut.
All kinds of delicacies and specialties.
Yes. 2-2 the count, 2 outs. 2-2 pitch is fouled back. And Bach getting a piece of it.
We spoke earlier about the heat this afternoon, how it was probably around 90 degrees or so. You have to consider how different this game would have been. Forget all the players, etc., all the normal things, but how quickly a pitcher would tire, and 2 aces might not be able to give their managers too much.
That pitch is low, and the count 3-2. Elena tried to bring it up with the glove into the strike zone, but Joe Ranchik didn't bite. So 3 balls, 2 strikes, the count to Bach. Here's the 3-2 delivery. Ground ball hit to third and almost ate up Hoyta. The long throw is in time. He stuck with it nicely and gets the out. For Watchung in the first. No runs, no hits, nobody left on. We've played 1, no score. There's a look at the big crowd here at North Plainfield. No score as we go to the top of the 6th, second inning. Excuse me, as I lost my voice momentarily. Somerville in the Somerset County Tournament, 2-2. Here's their Somerset County Tournament history. In '74, they defeated North Plainfield 1-0. Lost to Bernards in a real pitcher's duel, 14-10. Then a nice game against Ridge, and then a loss to Bridgewater East. So they are 2-2 in Somerset County Tournament history. Watchung Hills, on the other hand, the Warriors with 3 wins in Somerset County Tournament play. They've appeared 4 times and won 3 times. Their last appearance was in 1983 against Hillsborough, a game which they won by the score of 2-0. So the Warriors are trying to win their first Somerset County championship since '83. And Somerville trying to win one in their first appearance since '87. Here's some Somerset County Tournament trivia. This one is skied deep towards left, but it does go foul. And the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes to Ron Mosher, the Somerville cleanup hitter.
And that's really as good as we've seen anybody hit the ball so far. Here we are, top of the second.
Here's that trivia I was talking about. You know, Watchung Hills has won the tournament 3 times. Bridgewater Raritan East also won 3 times. They only appeared 3 times, so they won all the 3 times that they appeared. But Ridge has won the most Somerset County tournaments. Ridge has played in 8 finals. They've won 5. So Pete Hall's club, most impressive up at Ridge High School.
Always a very good team up there.
That pitch is inside. Ron Mosher, left-handed hitter. Mosher comes in hitting at 397. He's got good power, as you would expect your cleanup hitter to have. He has 3 home runs on the year. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Fouled away.
Mosher just getting a piece of that fastball.
And it begins to get a little bit darker here now as the lights begin to take effect.
Has to be something a little bit special for a lot of players. Most places, you don't have too many games under the lights.
No, that is a fact. Somerville has had some experience playing at night. There's a ground ball ripped, base hit, right field. Past the diving Cox at second base. And Mosher singles sharply to right.
Oh, I got you.
And now the third baseman, Matt Hoyda. So Somerville does get that first base hit after Matzo was most impressive in the first inning. That was hit well.
A very good hit, and Cox gave it a good effort, just couldn't get in the hole.
Hoyda bunts it down the third base line. Well, Coach Sable figuring, hey, we're not going to get a lot of runs against Matzo. We'll have to build as many as we can possibly can in the early portions of the game. So not a bad idea. Hoyda tried to lay it down. We were talking about Somerville playing at night. They have played some night games in Branchburg, and the Branchburg students do go to Somerville High School. They've played some night games there. Immaculata also does play some night games around the county. Watchung Hills has not played at night. So if anyone has an advantage, you would think Somerville might have the advantage playing under the lights, although I'm not one to believe in a lot of those type of things, Pete. I don't know how much of an advantage it really is in a championship game like this. Neither team really has played under these lights, so it's pretty even, I would think, that aspect of it.
I was thinking more in terms of the excitement factor for the players.
No doubt about it.
Interesting, we saw Matt Hoyda looking to bunt on the first pitch, and it really gives you an idea about the philosophy at Somerville. The fact that Rick Sable says everybody bunts, everybody moves players along, everybody in the batting order always builds for a run at a time.
Runner goes, and Hoyda rips it foul down the first base line.
A couple of fans ducking out of the way down there. Not too many of them, but you don't pay attention, you're going to get popped.
That is the one drawback of sitting on that first base line in those bleachers. If you are not paying attention, that is dangerous territory there because there is no fence going up over the fans. Throw over, and Mosher dives back into first.
Matzel saw that Mosher was going on the previous pitch. He wants to keep him close.
Runner goes, throws in the dirt, throw to second. Not in time. Stolen base for Mosher. So Mosher arrives at second base in a cloud of dust. And he's in scoring position.
That's the aggressiveness, the Somerville philosophy, constantly moving, build for the one run at a time, especially against a pitcher like Ben Matzel.
Matt Hoyda has a count of 2-2 on him. Runner at second. Nobody out. Matzel in his first jam of the night. Base hit up the middle, center field. Runner comes around third. Here comes the throw, and Somerville leads 1-0. Hoyda singles to center, drives home the run, and goes to second on a throw to the plate. And the Pioneers have broken the ice.
Well, you see the importance of that runner, Ron Mosher, stealing second base. As you had mentioned, in scoring position, just to base it up the middle. Nothing special about that, but the run coming home.
Now Ben Matzel steps off the mound momentarily. He's just a sophomore, which you lose track of sometimes because of the great success that he has had. And he tries to collect his thoughts a little bit. I want to get too rattled here. Sek Milic, the left fielder, at the plate, hitting .333 on the year. Runner at second, and nobody out. A run in for Somerville. They lead 1-0.
And again, a runner in scoring position.
There's a strike outside corner. No balls, 1 strike.
Sek Milic is a heavyweight wrestler for Somerville. Also a two-way starter on the football team. Plays the offensive and defensive lines.
Curveball swung on and missed. 0-2.
And that was a sweet-looking curveball.
Milic swung over the top on that one. 0-2 in the dirt. Good job by the catcher, Mobus, who blocks it in front of him. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count.
And a good pitch by Matzel on 0-2. You want to let the batter swing at your pitch. Threw it in the dirt, as you mentioned. A good play by Mobus to keep it in front of him. Keep Hoyda from moving up to third.
1-2 delivery. Curve that went high, and the count's 2-2.
Looks like Matzel is fighting himself a little bit after that pitch came up so high. Looked a little disgusted with himself, and with 1 in and 1 on and nobody down, it would seem this would be a very important out for him.
Swing and a miss, and a big strikeout for Matzel as he gets Milic 1 out in the inning. And now the Somerville center fielder, Brian Sutton, comes to the plate. 1 out, runner at second. Brian Sutton hitting at .280. And he checks down at third base. Somerville head coach Rick Sable with the signs. And Matzel checks the runner. Now he comes to the plate, and a fastball is high. 1-0.
Last couple of batters, Matzel has been up in the strike zone, missing consistently up with that fastball.
It's dangerous territory, especially against these right-handed hitters. They like that ball up. Ground ball, base hit, left field. Rounding third and stopping is Hoyda. Hoyda had a hold up because he wasn't sure if the ball was going to go through or not. So he had a slow start, and then when he got around to third, Rick Sable very wisely held him up.
I'm a little surprised. A very conservative move. It wasn't hit very hard, and it didn't get out to the outfield very quickly. Jim Bach ended up making a good throw, and apparently Sable showing respect for Bach's arm. He hit the cutoff man right where he's supposed to.
John Davenhall steps up. He's the Somerville right fielder. So a rocky second inning here for Ben Matzel. Runner goes. Throw down to second. They cut it off, and getting to second is Sutton. He steals second base. Now the Pioneers have runners at second and third with only 1 out. 3 singles in the inning. 1 run is in. And Somerville with an opportunity to do more damage.
And Ben Matzel is really in trouble. Stolen base eliminates the possibility of the double play. And the infield comes in at the corners.
Pitch is high. Counts 2-0. Oh, Mario Diaz, the veteran head coach of Watchung Hills, brings the infield in, which is interesting at this point of the game. This one is hit into right field, base hit. Here comes 1 runner to the plate. And the throw is cut off. Runners at the corners, 2-0 Somerville.
Good play by Greg Urban to get that ball in a hurry and make sure that Sutton didn't come home. Ben Matzel really struggling out there. Seems to be laboring a little bit and fighting himself a little bit.
And And again, that pitch was high, and Davenhall ripped it to right. Pitch up in his eyes. He jumped on it.
Now batting, second baseman
Mike Manning, the Somerville second baseman, will hit. Again, runners at the corners. Only one out, and Somerville leads 2-0.
You got a normal. Johnny, wait a minute for me, baby. You got a 4 normal.
Going to have to watch for that runner at first base, John Davenhall, see if he's going to be going. Possibility of a steal or a double steal.
Well, the Watchung infield is now at double play depth, so to speak.
And again, with the number 9 batter up, Mike Manning, Rick Sable wants to avoid the double play possibility. I'm sure at some point he'd like to have Davenhall moving.
He looks to get a good lead at first, and he goes. Throw down to second is cut off again. So Watchung not wanting that runner to break from third, basically giving Somerville that stolen base because they're not throwing to the base.
And you have to wonder if that is going to hurt them, especially the way that Watchung has had some problems with Ben Matzel. It's not as anybody is really hitting the ball deep. They're just slap singles, but they're getting it done for the Ville.
And now Mike Manning talking to Rick Sable, the head coach.
I'm sorry, Lou, the way that Matzel is struggling, you'd almost think that Mario Diaz might just want to get an out at second base, pick up an out, help out his pitcher, and then let him do some work. Then if he gets a strikeout, he's out of the inning.
Well, the count is 0-1 to Manning. There's one out, and after him, back up to the top of the Somerville order. Ben Matzel retired the first 3 batters he faced in the first inning. This second inning has been tough, and he's not out of it yet. Here's the 0-1, and it's bunted beautifully in front of the plate. And a throw, no throw, everybody is safe.
That was just a beautiful bunt by Mike Manning. It went out about 8 feet in front of home plate and just died. Mopus went out to pick it up. Saw he didn't have the play at first. He looked down and saw that Davenhall was caught off second. Only one problem. There was no infielder there to take the throw, so he couldn't make the throw down to second. Now the bases are loaded with only one down.
So now Ben Matzel in a whole heap of trouble. Mario Diaz comes out to talk to him. And the whole Watchung Hills infield is there to discuss their possibilities. And what kind of defensive alignment do the Warriors imply in this situation, Pete? Do they bring the infield in, try to cut off the run, or do they go for 2? There's a lot of different scenarios that can take place.
I think you keep the infield in at the corners to cut off the run at the plate and have the middle infielders a double play depth. 1 down, so if you get 2, you're out of the inning. If it's to the corner, you want to get that first play coming home, make the force at home, and then try to double up the batter at first base.
4 singles, actually 5 singles in the inning. 2 runs in. Fouled at the plate. Elena struck out his first time up, and to be quite frank about it, didn't look good in that at-bat against Matzel. Matzel had his number in that first at-bat.
And he struck out looking, which you don't like to do.
But Eric will try to even things out here, hitting .373 coming in. And he looks at a curve outside, and the count is 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, Matzel has gotten ahead of the last 2 hitters and then has even up the count, and the infield is indeed in at the corners with the middle infielders back at double play depth.
One pitch, ground ball hit back to the pitcher. Matzel throws to the plate, and they get the force there. So the bases are still loaded. And Craig Fass, who also struck out his first time up, comes to the plate.
Easy one, right?
Well, Matzel just wants to get out of this inning now with the 2 runs. If he can get out of here with a 2-run deficit, I think he would have to be pretty happy taking that at this point.
I would tend to agree with you.
Pitch is high. 1 ball, no strikes.
Interesting in that ball was bounced right back to the box. It looked like they might have a chance for 2, but Matzel played it very carefully and very cautiously. We're not going to fault him for that, but he took his time, made sure he got the 1, which is obviously the most important out.
Somerville is just 1 base hit away from really blowing this thing open early. Pitch is high, and Watchung Hills is 1 hit away from being in a disastrous situation. They have to get this batter here.
And you know that Mario Diaz can't even think about bringing in another pitcher. This is his ace, and he's got to ride it out.
Ball 3, 3-0.
Consistently high in the strike zone. He's been having problems high in the strike zone.
Nowhere to put fast. A walk brings home a run.
Well, first Paul-John came in to have a word, and now Movis comes in to have a word. Try to settle down Matzel, get him to just put the ball in the strike zone now. You would certainly imagine that Fass is going to be taking all the way with the bases full and 2 down.
He's got to come in with this one. 3 balls, no strikes. Bases loaded. Ball 4. 4 straight pitches out of the strike zone, and they weren't close. Run scores, 3-0 Somerville.
And an easy RBI for Craig Fass.
Mike Bergen to the plate, and Somerville is now batted around here in the 2nd inning. Mike is 0 for 1. He grounded to second his first time up. Bases loaded, 2 outs. And he rips one to the first baseman, and a good play by Benish as he stays with it, and that'll do it. But for Somerville, 3 runs, 5 hits, 3 left on. In the middle of the 2nd, Somerville 3, Watchung Hills nothing. Brian Ronaldo will lead it off for the Warriors here in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Ronaldo hitting at .357. And he will face fastball pitcher Kurt Smith, who has a 3-0 lead as we go to the bottom of the 2nd inning. It will be Ronaldo, Capsack, and Urban, the middle of the Warriors order.
Got to be a nice feeling now for Smith to know that he has some breathing room. Doesn't have to be quite as fine and just wants to throw strikes now.
And he can go with number 1. Get that in the strike zone, and he'll be doing all right. It was a big inning for Somerville in the top of the 2nd. All singles, 5 singles. One was a bunt single by Manning.
And it was a beautiful bunt single. Just keeping the runners moving. A couple of stolen bases in that half frame.
Here's Smith's pitch. Fastball in the dirt, and the count is 1-0. Beautiful evening for baseball. There is no breeze to speak of.
Very pleasant.
A nice night. There's a strike, and the count is 1-1. Strike on the inside corner. Last year's Somerset County Championship game played between Immaculata and North Plainfield. There were some thunderstorms prior to the game. This year, though, looks like we're going to be high and dry. That pitch is low.
Again,
1-1.
Again, Smith doesn't want to be too fine. He's got the 3-run lead. He's throwing hard. Just put the ball over the plate. Ronaldo, though, a dangerous hitter, leads the team with 3 home runs and 23 RBIs.
There's a base hit, right field. He rips it, and it gets by the right fielder. Ronaldo's on his way to second. Here comes the throw. He's in standing. So Brian Ronaldo singles sharply to right field. That will be a single and an error. John Davenhall couldn't come up with it in right. There's John. You could see where the grass had some divots out there. just to the right. There you see the camera panning over, and that's where he picked up the ball. It might have had something to do with the fact that he couldn't get it.
Looks like it might be one of those yard markers for football, where it's worn down a little bit.
So Ronaldo gets things going for the Warriors. That pitch low in the dirt. Dan Kapsack is the Watchung Hill center fielder. He's hitting .386 on the year. So the Warriors are going to have to play catch up, and they're off to a good start here in the bottom of the second. That pitch is high. Kapsack did not offer, and the count 2-0. And the Warrior fans are alive and well behind us. They were a little quiet in that top of the second, but all they needed was something to cheer about. They've got it. There's a strike at the knees. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Kapsack, a line drive hitter. He certainly wants to come up with a line drive here and try to plate Ronaldo.
Swing and a miss. 2-2. Throw to second, and Ronaldo gets back.
Good throw by Alina. Kapsack a little bit late on that swing. Fastball.
Shortstop Mike Bergen covering down there. So Elena not shy about firing the ball around.
Showing a lot of confidence with that arm.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. There's a strike 3 outside corner, and there's 1 away.
Kapsack looking and thinking that pitch might have been a little bit outside. Didn't get the call though, and he goes down without taking the bat off his shoulder, at least on that pitch.
All right, here's Greg Urban, the right fielder. Left-handed batter hitting at .346. And he hits it to second. Played by the second baseman. Manning throws to first. Runner moves to third.
You see the difference between an aluminum bat and a wooden bat on that ground to second base. Would have been a broken bat had it been wood. You could tell just the way it came off the bat.
Here is Scott Soletto. Scott hitting .607. .607. Yesterday, meaning Friday, against Red Bank in the Central Jersey Group 3 tournament, he went 2 for 3. Had a good game. By the way, Watchung Hills did win that game against Red Bank 8-4, and they will play on Tuesday against Raritan Township from the Shore area. So they're still alive in the state tournament. Somerville is also. Group 2.
Soletto's a senior with a very quick bat.
There's a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And of course, Smith is a pitcher with a very quick arm. They're matched up against each other right now.
He's quick. He's got one of the quickest fastballs I have seen on the high school level. He gets it to the plate in a hurry. Pitch low.
He's got 2 outs, and Smith has his eye on at third base, where Brian Ronaldo is trying to dance around and throw him off balance. Got to come to the plate. Got to come to the plate. Has to worry about the batter. He's got 2 down. Can't worry about that runner.
Pitch is 3 balls. Count is 3 balls and 1 strike.
Now, especially, you don't want to lose this batter here.
High chopper. Tough play. Smith throws in the dirt. Run score. So Watchung gets 1 back. Soletto hits a high chopper. Smith throws the first in the dirt. And fast, the first baseman can't come up with it. So Ronaldo scores. It's 3-1.
Good hustle by Soletto getting down the first base line. Infield single. And as they always say, a line drive in the box score.
And our official scorer, Mr. Carl Barbati from the Courier News, alongside, says hit all the way, throw over. And Scott Soletto gets back. Throw over and diving back is Soleto. Soleto, a running back on the football team, has got good speed. He may look to go. Looks like he's got a pretty good lead. Oh, he's leaning. And Smith comes to the plate. Soleto with a pretty good fake towards second. He was leaning on that front foot and then faked it. And the count, strike one. 0-1 to Ben Matzel, who can help himself out here. Ben had a terrific ball game against Red Bank. He went 3 for 4. Drove in a couple of runs. Strike two, the count.
Well, this is what Smith wants to be doing. Wants to be getting ahead of the hitters. You know, the Warriors have to feel a little bit better, at least getting that one run back, showing they can reach Kurt Smith.
Runner goes, and it's another high chopper hit towards second. Tough play. Manning throws. Out at first. Good play by the second baseman, Manning, and a good stretch by Fass. For the Warriors, they get 1 run, 2 hits, and there was 1 Somerville error. At the end of 2, Somerville 3, Watchung Hills 1. You see Ben Matzel warming up as we go to the top of the 3rd inning. And for Somerville, it will be the middle of their order. Ron Mosher, Matt Hoyta, and Sek Milic. And here to tell you about it over the next couple of innings, Pete Haskell.
All right, Lou, Ben Matzel looking to get back on track after giving up 3 runs. And the top of the 2nd starts out with a fastball. And foul back for strike 1, Ron Mosher. Mosher is 1 for 1, single to right field, stole a base, and came around to score. Scored the first run of the game. He led off last inning as well, and as we spoke about, Somerville batting around. Matzel getting ahead, 0-1. Nice off speed pitch, bang through the hole. Pretty much the same place where Mosher came up with his first hit of the game. Mosher with a wide turn and holds on. So Ron Mosher is now 2 for 2 on the ball game.
I noticed out in right field, Urban, the Watchung Hills right fielder, also had a very difficult time picking up that ball. And that's something to watch the remainder of the game. It must be somewhat treacherous out there for whatever reason.
Very similar to the problem that we saw in the previous half inning. John Davenhall had a problem out there. As Matzel checks the runner. Batter Matt Hoyta, runners going. Mobus throws down to second base and just to the wrong side of the bag. Looks like Mobus has had some trouble getting the ball down to second on those earlier steals. This is the 3rd stolen base of the game for the Pioneers. And the 2nd for Ron Mosher. So Mosher is shaking things up. He now has 12 stolen bases on the season. A lot of stolen bases for Somerville. Pioneers like to run.
And Greg Mobus a little bit upset with himself. This is a Watchung Hills team with a lot of youth. Mobus is just a sophomore as well. We got a sophomore battery for the Warriors.
Fastball down low. And Matzel still struggling to find home plate.
Get a feeling, Pete, that Matzel to Mobus is going to see a lot of victories over the next couple of years for Watchung Hills.
Certainly based on the first 2 seasons for both these players, it looks that way. Fastball low in the dirt. Count goes 2-0, and in the 2nd inning, we saw Matzel consistently missing high. Now he is missing low. Hoyta hitting .285 in the season, bats from the right side, as you can well see. Somerville leading 3-1, top of the 3rd. Fastball catches the outside corner, so the count goes to 2-1. Have to think possibly Hoyta was going to watch that one go as Matzel is in trouble finding the strike zone. Hoyta single to center and drove in a run. Later came around to score in that 2nd inning. Matzel checks the runner. Swinging strike 2, so we go to 2-2, and You know, Matzel just wants to find his rhythm.
Yeah, off to another rough start here in the third inning, and after that tough second, I'm sure Mario Diaz did not want to see that for his young pitcher.
2-2 count to Hoyta. Fastball bounced down to third, may go foul. Well, Joe Ranchik lets you know that it was indeed a foul ball.
Is there any doubt that that was foul?
Boy, I tell you, he doesn't mess around at all.
Joe is serious on those foul ball calls. Joe, you know, we're kidding with Joe. He's really a terrific umpire on the high school level. But and broadcasting a game, I know personally, I love those umpires who make no doubt about it calls.
Kind of like Dutch Rennert in the National League. Foul tip. Just got a piece of it, did Matt Hoyta. Hoyta is a senior for Somerville. Pioneers 17-6 on the season, a 4-game winning streak. Watchung Hills 19-1, a 19-game winning streak. Lost the opening game of the season, and 19 victories since then. Still 2-2 count. Fastball close. Actually, it's 3-2 now. As Hoyta brings it down to first base, and now first and second. As Sek Milic comes to the plate. Milic struck out his first time up. He is hitting .333 on the season. Matzel struggling. Off-speed pitch in the dirt. Good block by Mobus to keep the runners from advancing. Mosher on second base and Hoyta down at first.
Ben Matzel really needs to get Milic here because this inning really has all the look of a real ambush.
Very similar to the previous inning. This one fouled back, so we're even at 1-1. First two batters in the second reached base, and both came around to score. Mosher and Hoyta were in the same position right here. Milic looking to do some damage. And Matzel hoping to get things together. Runners are going. Mobus with a throw down to third. Can't get Mosher, and both runners are safe. So now we have second and third with nobody down. And Sek Milic with a chance for a couple of RBIs.
And, you know, lost in the shuffle, when you look at a game box score in the paper, you would never know what Brian Ronaldo just did at third base. But he saved a run, maybe two, because he made a terrific play at third to catch that throw. If that ball goes over his head, Somerville is really lighting up the scoreboard.
Matzel trying to bear down. Off-speed pitch low again. Count evens up at 2-2. Still nobody out. Somerville threatening here in the top of the third. And Ben Matzel, after breezing through that first inning with 2 strikeouts and a weak ground out, has really struggled since then. Milic fouling it off his foot. Barely getting a piece of that one. Matzel has been in the strike zone in the past couple of pitches. Milic, one of many 3 sport athletes on this Somerville baseball team. Top of the third, nobody down. Somerville leading Watchung Hills 3-1 in the Somerset County Championship game. Matzel steps off as Milic steps out.
Boy, does Ben Matzel need a strikeout here.
He sure could use one. 2-2 count. Checks the runner at third, Mosher. In the dirt, gets by Mobus, but the backstop just behind, so Mosher won't take the risk. And we're full at 3-2.
Yeah, we should mention that's another interesting part of this Crouch Field. When the ball does get by the catcher on a wild pitch or a pass ball, you're not going anywhere from third base because the backstop is no more than 10 feet away from home plate.
Only problem you have is if it hits right at the bottom where there's wood. 3-2. Straight back. That was a high fastball. Must have looked fat, a little bit out of the strike zone, and Millage shaking his head. Looks big coming in, but when you try to get around on it,
it's hard to lay off that pitch, that high pitch that's above the letters or right around the chin or so.
3-2, nobody down, second and third for the Ville. Nicked the bat. I don't think Millage wanted to offer that one, but it nicked the bat, went back, so the count remains full.
Matzel trying to make a good pitch here, trying to get out of this third inning.
And Millage trying to bear down, trying to knock in those 2 runners in scoring position. 3-2. Swinging strike 3. Well, Matzel coming up with a big strikeout, and Millage striking out for his second time in this ball game.
Pete, Ben Matzel had some smoke on that pitch because Millage was way behind. He swung when the ball was already in Mobus's glove.
And that brings center fielder Brian Sutton to the plate. He is 1 for 1. Singled in the second and ended up getting forced out at the plate. 1 down now. Sutton fouled straight back.
This is a very important inning for both ball clubs. Somerville now has Watchung Hills on the ropes. A base hit could drive in 2 runs, and the Pioneers would be up by 4, and the Warriors would be in somewhat serious trouble against a good pitcher like Smith. However, if Matzel can get out of it, what a lift that would give to Watchung.
Count is 0-1 on Brian Sutton, who's hitting .280 on the season. Leads the team in doubles with 6. Good fastball, ripped to left field. It's going to fall in for a base hit. 1 run will score. Here comes Hoyta. He'll hold up at third. Brian Sutton with an RBI single to left. Good play by Bach, getting the ball in quickly. And Hoyta had to hold up. That ball was hit on a line.
Sutton got around, ripped it to left field. He got all of that one. And then a terrific throw by the left fielder, Bach. He threw a bullet into the cutoff man to keep the runner at third.
So Mosher comes in to score the 4th run of the game for Somerville. Pioneers now leading 4-1. RBI for Brian Sutton. As Matzel throws over to check Sutton. Still just 1 down in this top of the third. Matzel struggling. Runner is on the move. Fly ball to left field. As Bach goes back, runner will tag up. He makes the play. The throw, a good throw, coming to the plate, just off line. And Hoyta scores. Runner tags at first base. Sutton goes down to second. That was a bullet thrown from left fielder Jim Bach, just on the first base side, but he had the distance.
Heck of a throw. Maybe a little too much on it because it was so high that the catcher Mobus had to reach up for it. It wasn't down where he could get it and make a tag quickly. But the important thing is Somerville has driven in 2 runs. And you know, we were talking in the pregame how Watchung Hills probably would be the favorite on paper, but doesn't it happen just about every time, Pete? That's why they play the game.
You are not kidding. 5-1 now. Somerville leading. 2 down here, top of the third. Mike Manning at the plate. Manning looks at a fastball in the outside corner. He is 1 for 1 of this ball game. Singled back in the second. John Davenhall with a sacrifice fly, driving in his second run of the game. Davenhall had singled in the second. And Manning with 2 down, trying to get back to the top of the order for Eric Alina, who is on deck. Good off-speed pitch, and Mobus lets get away. And that moves Sutton down to third base. Mobus a little bit disappointed at himself that he couldn't hold on to that one. Greg Mobus, as we mentioned, just a sophomore. 6'1", 230. A sturdy backstop, as they like to say.
You're not kidding. And he's still growing. Just a sophomore.
Just a growing boy. Well, that wild pitch doesn't help any, because any kind of crazy thing now can bring in another run. As we mentioned, the backstop, though, very close behind home plate, so it'd be difficult for a runner to score from third. Good off-speed pitch, side retired. Well, Matzel coming on strong at the end, but he did struggle, gave up a couple of runs on 2 hits. There was 1 left on. Middle of 3, Somerville leading Watchung Hills 5-1. As we go to the bottom of the 3rd, Kurt Smith of Somerville now with a 4-run cushion. Pioneers leading Watchung Hills 5-1, and if you're hungry, this is the place to be.
There's the hut here at North Plainfield, and the word we get is the sausage and peppers. Outstanding, just tremendous.
I think we got 2 thumbs up on that one. It's 2 for 2. Not a bad average there.
That sounds good, especially for someone who has not eaten like me.
Don't think about it. Don't think about it.
You hear it thud, it's my headset's dropping.
I mean, I'm hungry also, and the more I think about it, they run back between innings. We'll see what's happening down there. Anthony Benish will bat for the first time. He's the number 9 hitter for Watchung Hills, leading off the bottom of the 3rd against Kurt Smith. Pitched a good ball game so far. Smith starts him out with a high, hard one off the plate for ball 1. Benish is also a pitcher on this team. Spray hitter, hitting .362 on the season. Playing first base tonight. And Lou, he has a nice souvenir from earlier this season.
Anthony Benish, in fact, yesterday was pitching in the state tournament game against Red Bank, delivered the pitch and took a line drive shot off of his head. Was hit in the head by a line drive. A scary moment for everyone involved. And Mario Diaz, of course, did take him out of the game. And Benish does have a big bumble on his head, a black and blue spot above his eye. He could have been seriously injured, and thank goodness he was not. He's back in the lineup tonight. I asked him before the game, it must have been a scary situation, and he said, well, not really. I was just upset that I had to come out of the game.
There's a shot to right field. And boy, that play looked like an adventure out there as John Davenhall kind of circled underneath it and made the play. But out number 1 as Anthony Benish goes down, and you mentioned the black and blue mark. It looks like that you can see the stitches from the baseball right over his eyebrow.
Must have been a scary situation. Again, we're glad that he's all right. Fiery competitor, though.
You are not kidding.
Wanted to get back in there. You know, we talked about the right fielder. That was Davenhall circling under the ball. Again, you're playing with these lights, and if you haven't played here and you're not used to playing here, it's got to be quite an adjustment and an experience on your first fly ball.
Anytime you play in circumstances you're not familiar with, it becomes difficult, especially in a pressure-packed game like a county championship. Joe Paul John at the plate. Foul back the first one at 0-1. Grounded out to short in its first at-bat. Off-speed pitch high. Paul John hitting .298 on the season. Has 26 stolen bases, so he can fly. Kind of guy that you want to get on base. Again, the leadoff hitter, 1 down here, bottom of the 3rd. Smith throwing very hard, swinging strike 2.
Now the Warriors are down by 4 runs, and they've got lots of time to try to come back. So they just want to try to chip away and see if Matzel can hold them where they are.
Very important not to try to hit a 4-run home run with nobody on base. And that off-speed pitch in the dirt, so it evens up at 2-2. As you mentioned, just take it one at a time. Have to get runners on base and move them up a base at a time. Sounds so simplistic, but that is really what it comes down to.
Well, especially when you have four innings left.
Paul John showing a good eye as the count goes full, and Kurt Smith off the plate a little bit this evening as well. Ben Matzel has really struggled the last 2 innings, and Smith not quite to that extent, but wants to be a little bit closer to the plate. What do you think that was?
Obviously a foul, but it went off of the foot, it looked like, of Paul John. It's got to hurt, although he doesn't seem to be worse for the wear at the moment.
He is looking to get on base any way he can. He's got the count full with one down here in the bottom of the third. Watchung Hills, the #1 seed in the draw. Somerville, the #2 seed. Playing for the title. Umpire a little bit like Dutch Renner to the National League. You know he's there. Fastball looped into second base, and Manning comes in to make the play for out #2. Mike Manning, the second baseman. So Smith looking for an easy inning. He'll have to face Mike Cox, who is 0 for 1 in the ball game. Cox hitting .542 on the season. Did miss the first 4 games due to injuries, but as you can tell from that .542 average, has been quite successful since that time. Tries to bunt, but he fouls back.
Well, Cox just trying to get on, and he was bunting, obviously. Trying to lay it down, get a base hit, get something started with the big guys coming up next for the Warriors.
Like to have some runners on base when Brian Ronaldo and Dan Capsack get up there. Smith delivers, off-speed pitch, popped up. Manning will get another opportunity, settles underneath, makes the play, and the Warriors go down 1-2-3. End of 3 innings of play. It is Watchung Hills leading Somerville 5-1. We go to the top of the 4th. Ben Matzel of Watchung Hills hoping to get things together. He surrendered 5 runs and 7 hits in the last 2 innings and looking to regain control of this Somerset County Championship.
He's got to, and I repeat, has got to hold Somerville where they are at this point, because the Warriors are already in trouble down 5-1. They give up any more runs, and, well, we don't want to send people home early, but basically it's going to be very difficult.
Eric Alina, the leadoff hitter, attempted a bunt and made a play on it, so it is strike 1. Alina is 0 for 2 in this ball game. Struck out looking in the first and then bounced into a force play in the second. Top of the order for Somerville. Off-speed pitch ripped deep to center field, but Capsack is there to make the play. Dan Capsack had him played perfectly. And out #1 for Ben Matzel. It was a rip shot, but it's an out.
In this stadium, deep is not deep enough. I mean, that was a shot, but...
That was a shot. That brings Craig Fast to the plate. Fast struck out in the first and walked in the second. That walk brought him an RBI. The bases were loaded at the time. Fast hitting .294 on the season. Left-hander going against sophomore righty Ben Matzel of Watchung Hills. Somerville leading 5-1. Off-speed pitch off the outside corner.
Important to note for Elena on that last at-bat, that was an excellent at-bat, because his first time against Matzel, he struck out. The second time, he hit a ground ball back to the pitcher, so that definitely was the best at-bat of the 3. He found out what Matzel had, and the third time around, he ripped him.
Hit it on a line, but right to Dan Capsack. Fast looking to make things happen. It's a bouncer over to second base. Cox is over. Double pumps and safe on an error, we'll call it right now, as Cox couldn't make the play, and Fast legging it out for an infield hit or an error. Call it an E.
It's an officially an error.
#5, Mike Bergen.
Yeah, that was a tough play for Cox, no doubt about it, but for some reason couldn't get the ball out of his glove.
Just double clutched. And that'll bring up the #3 hitter, Mike Bergen. He also is 0 for 2, grounded out both times to the right side, so he's had trouble dealing with Matzel's heat. Runner fakes going, swinging strike one. That was a good heater by Matzel.
Well, again, Ben has to really bear down here as he has another runner on. Seems like he's had runners on. Well, he has had runners on the last 3 innings.
Really been a merry-go-round. Round and round they go. 5 runs worth. Not close on the pickoff. Has to be a little bit disappointing. He struggled so through the last 2 innings, gets the first out on a rip, and then induces the number 2 hitter Fast to bounce one over to second. Cox couldn't handle it. Runner goes, bunts the ball. This one could be a bunt base hit. Throw is made, and he is safe, so all runners are safe. Bergen legging it out, and that was a beautiful bunt.
First of all, 2 terrific things on that play. First, it was a fabulous bunt. You couldn't bunt it any better than that. And secondly, Ronaldo showed a gun. I didn't think he had a chance to make it even close. In fact, I didn't think he was even going to throw. And he threw a bullet to first base.
You bring up a good point. I'm thinking whether it's even worth it for him to make that throw. You don't want to risk throwing it away, but he almost did get him. First and second now as Ron Mosher comes up. Mosher is 2 for 2. 3 stolen bases in this game and has scored twice. So with 1 down, runners at first and second. We'll see if Rick Sable has them going. He's been doing a lot of running in this game. Matzel again needs to bear down, and he steps off. And with that, Mosher steps out. Mosher hitting .397. They run the pickoff play. Nothing doing, though. Greg Fast at second base and Mike Bergen at first. Ron Mosher leading the team in home runs, RBIs, and base hits. Can hit the long ball. Ooh, that was close. Very close. 2-0, and Matzel has got to come in with a pitch here. Have to wonder if Mosher will get the green light on 2-0 and his team leading 5-1, a couple of runners on. Fly ball hit deep right center. Back goes Urban. Urban and Capsack. Capsack makes the play and throws it in. Dan Capsack with a good play as you see the head first dive into third base for Fast.
And as Mosher goes back to the bench, to the dugout, he's shaking his head, saying, what kind of a field is this?
Boy, he gave that one a ride. Looked like that Urban and Capsack might have some trouble communicating, but Capsack went over and made the play. It shows you what kind of range he has as a center fielder.
Well, the ball was hit so deep, Pete, that both Capsack and Urban just kept going back and back and back and back. Usually you run out of room eventually, but not here.
Pickoff play. Matzel makes the play and throws it away. Run number 6 will come in. And Bergen safe at second, and it has been that kind of evening for Ben Matzel. Worked the pickoff play to perfection, fake going to third, and instead look for the runner at first. Tough break. Should have been out number 3.
That is a tough error for the Warriors. And now the whole infield gets together, and I like to see this. And keep in mind, Matzel's just a sophomore, and he's got to be very upset with himself after that. I know I would be. And now he's got to keep his composure and get the batter, excuse me.
That's exactly what he needs to do. Off the outside corner to Matt Hoyta. Hoyta 1 for 1 and a walk, drove in a run with a single in the second, scored in the second, and then scored after a walk in the third. Also a stolen base in that third inning. Fastball off the outside, 2-0. And Matzel really struggling. He has to put that bad pickoff throw behind him. And I tell you, that error on Cox to allow Fast the first runner on really comes back to haunt this team. Grounder in the hole, knocked down beautifully by Ronaldo. Can't make the play, but he saves a run. A beautiful defensive play by Brian Ronaldo. The diving play in the hole to knock it down, and he really did save a run.
I mean, that was a great play by Ronaldo. There he is, third. The uniform is dirty now. Terrific play. He saved the run.
First and third, though, still a dangerous situation. Check swing foul ball for Sek Milic. Milic has gone down on strikes on 2 occasions, so he is 0 for 2, and Mario Diaz, the head coach, is going to make a trip to the mound, try to settle down Ben Matzel. Very important that he gets Milic here, runners on the corner. Watchung Hills trailing 6-1, and Diaz doesn't want this game to get away from him.
Well, that's a very difficult situation for the Warriors. They have won 19 in a row, and they have been dominant throughout most of that 19-game winning streak. They have had very few occasions where they've had to deal with situations like this, where it hasn't been their day and they've been giving up runs and making errors and having all sorts of problems. And so with the young makeup of the club, Mario Diaz trying to make sure that the wheels don't fall off here in this 4th inning. Because they still, with the hitting that they have, are still in the ball game.
Very much so. 2 down here, Milic at the plate. Bergen's down at third, Hoyt is at first. They try that pickoff play once again, and both runners head back to their respective bases. Hoyt doesn't want to make the same mistake that he saw made earlier, although didn't come back to haunt the team, as Mosher was the runner at first before. They tried one more time, but to no avail. What the heck?
I think the Pioneers are a little bit wiser this time around, though.
Be interesting to see, though, if Hoyt is interested in running. He's on first base. 0-1 count. Runner is going. Foul tip, so Hoyt will go back, and now Matzel in a good position. He's 0-2. Sek Milic has already struck out twice tonight. And you know he is going to be working to protect the plate and put the bat on the ball. A couple of errors in this inning, really. I've heard Watchung Hills. Runner goes again. Off-speed pitch, swinging, strike 3. So Matzel gets out of the inning with minimal damage. There was 1 run on 2 hits, couple of errors, and 2 left on. In the middle of the 4th, it is now Somerville leading Watchung Hills 6-1.
Tough play for Cox, no doubt about it, but for some reason couldn't get the ball out of his glove.
Just double clutched. And that'll bring up the number 3 hitter, Mike Bergen. He also is 0 for 2, grounded out both times to the right side, so he's had trouble dealing with Matzel's heat. Runner fakes going, swinging, strike 1. That was a good heater by Matzel.
Oh, again, Ben has to really bear down here as he has another runner on. Seems like he's had runners on. Well, he has had runners on the last 3 innings.
Really been a merry-go-round. Round and round they go. 5 runs worth. Not close on the pickoff. Has to be a little bit disappointing. He struggled so through the last 2 innings, gets the first out on a rip, and then induces the number 2 hitter fast to bounce one over to second. Cox couldn't handle it. Runner goes, bunts the ball. This one could be a bunt base hit. Throw is made, and he is safe, so all runners are safe. Bergen legging it out, and that was a beautiful bunt.
First of all, 2 terrific things on that play. First, it was a fabulous bunt. You couldn't bunt it any better than that. And secondly, Ronaldo showed a gun. I didn't think he had a chance to make it even close. In fact, I didn't think he was even going to throw. And he threw a bullet to first base.
You bring up a good point. I'm thinking whether it's even worth it for him to make that throw. You don't want to risk throwing it away, but he almost did get him. First and second now as Ron Mosher comes up. Mosher is 2 for 2. 3 stolen bases in this game and has scored twice. So with 1 down, runners at first and second. We'll see if Rick Sable has them going. He's been doing a lot of running in this game. Matzel again needs to bear down, and he steps off. And with that, Mosier steps out. Mosier hitting .397. They run the pickoff play. Nothing doing, though. Craig Fast at second base and Mike Bergen at first. Ron Mosier leading the team in home runs, RBIs, and base hits. Can hit the long ball. Ooh, that was close. Very close. 2-0, and Matzel has got to come in with a pitch here. Have to wonder if Mosier will get the green light on 2-0 and his team leading 5-1, a couple of runners on. Fly ball hit deep right center. Back goes Urban. Urban and Capsack. Capsack makes the play and throws it in. Dan Capsack with a good play as you see the head first dive into third base for Fast.
And as Mosier goes back to the bench, to the dugout, he's shaking his head, saying, what kind of a field is this?
Boy, he gave that one a ride. Looked like that Urban and Capsack might have some trouble communicating, but Capsack went over and made the play. It shows you what kind of range he has as a center fielder.
Well, the ball was hit so deep, Pete, that both Capsack and Urban just kept going back and back and back and back. Usually you run out of room eventually, but not here.
Pickoff play. Matzel makes the play and throws it away. Run number 6 will come in. And Bergen safe at second, and it has been that kind of evening for Ben Matzel. Worked the pickoff play to perfection, fake going to third, and instead look for the runner at first. Tough break. Should have been out number 3.
That is a tough error for the Warriors. And now the whole infield gets together, and I like to see this. And keep in mind, Matzel's just a sophomore, and he's got to be very upset with himself after that. I know I would be. And now he's got to keep his composure and get the batter, excuse me.
That's exactly what he needs to do. Off the outside corner to Matt Hoyta. Hoyta 1 for 1 and a walk, drove in a run with a single in the second, scored in the second, and then scored after a walk in the third. Also a stolen base in that third inning. Fastball off the outside, 2-0. And Matzel really struggling. Has to put that bad pickoff throw behind him. And I tell you, that error on Cox to allow Fast the first runner on really comes back to haunt this team. Grounder in the hole, knocked down beautifully by Ronaldo. Can't make the play, but he saves a run. A beautiful defensive play by Brian Ronaldo. The diving play in the hole to knock it down, and he really did save a run.
I mean, that was a great play by Ronaldo. There he is, third. The uniform is dirty now. Terrific play. He saved the run.
First and third, though, still a dangerous situation. Check swing foul ball for Sek Milic. Milic has gone down on strikes on 2 occasions, so he is 0 for 2, and Mario Diaz, the head coach, is going to make a trip to the mound, try to settle down Ben Matzel. Very important that he gets Milic here, runners on the corner. Watching Hills trailing 6-1, and Diaz doesn't want this game to get away from him.
Well, that's a very difficult situation for the Warriors. They have won 19 in a row, and they have been dominant throughout most of that 19-game winning streak. They have had very few occasions where they've had to deal with situations like this, where it hasn't been their day and they've been giving up runs and making errors and having all sorts of problems. And so with the young makeup of the club, Mario Diaz trying to make sure that the wheels don't fall off here in this 4th inning. Because they still, with the hitting that they have, are still in the ball game.
Very much so. 2 down here. Milich at the plate. Bergen's down at third. Hoyt is at first. They try that pickoff play once again, and both runners head back to their respective bases. Hoyt doesn't want to make the same mistake that he saw made earlier, although didn't come back to haunt the team, as Mosher was the runner at first before. They tried one more time, but to no avail. What the heck?
I think the Pioneers are a little bit wiser this time around, though.
Be interesting to see, though, if Hoyt is interested in running. He's on first base. 0-1 count. Runner is going. Foul tip, so Hoyt will go back, and now Matzel in a good position. He's 0-2. Zach Milich has already struck out twice tonight. And you know he is going to be working to protect the plate and put the bat on the ball. A couple of errors in this inning, really. I've heard Watchung Hills. Runner goes again. Off-speed pitch, swinging, strike 3. So Matzel gets out of the inning with minimal damage. There was 1 run on 2 hits, couple of errors, and 2 left on. In the middle of the 4th, it is now Somerville leading Watchung Hills 6-1. Watchung Hills will send the heart of the order to the plate as we go to the bottom of the 4th. The Warriors trailing 6-1. It'll be Jim Bach, Brian Rinaldo, and Dan Kapsack trying to reach Kurt Smith, who has been very impressive in the first 3 innings for Somerville.
He's got a 5-run lead, which obviously makes his job a little bit easier. He can feel more comfortable out there. The Warriors, no need to panic. They still have 4 at-bats. They are the home team, so they will get an at-bat in the bottom of the 7th should they need it.
And Jim Bach, the lefty, will lead things off. He is 0 for 1, grounded out to third base his first time up. Smith fastball high for the first pitch. Bach, a 3-year starter, hitting .318 this season after hitting .478 a season ago. The Warriors just want base runners. Fastball is high again. And again, Kurt Smith does not have to worry about being too fine with a 5-run lead. Now we're out to 3-0. 3 fastballs in a row coming up high.
That's one thing Smith doesn't want to do with a 5-run lead, is put runners on base.
Should be looking the whole way here, and he does. Fastball down Broadway. Count to 3-1. Somerville scored 3 in the 2nd, 2 in the 3rd, and 1 in the 4th, leading 6-1. Fastball fouled straight back. Good fastball. That one in the strike zone. Looked very tempting to Bach, about letter high. Smith has given up 1 run on 2 hits in this game. Fastball, strike 3. Jim Bach goes down swinging. And first batter goes down, strikeout number 2 on the evening for Kurt Smith.
Big strikeout for Smith. He was down 3-0 in the count, came back to get the strikeout.
And all fastballs that time to Bach. This brings up Brian Rinaldo, who is 1 for 1, a single to right field, compounded by an error by John Davenhall. He ended up scoring a run. The only run, which turns out to be unearned because of that error in right field.
I'm impressed with Rinaldo. Quite a player over there at third base. He's made a couple of really nice plays.
And just a sophomore, started last year as a freshman. Another fastball by Kurt Smith, 0-1 count.
Plays on the varsity football team.
Good off-speed pitch, and after all those fastballs, Ronaldo was fooled and took that check swing, fouled it off.
Brian had a good football game against Somerville in the fall. Had a couple of interceptions.
A lot of multi-sport athletes on both sides of the diamond. 0-2 pitch. Foul back. Oh boy, somebody's car in danger behind home plate.
It's one of the rules of thumb if you're covering high school baseball, whether broadcasting or sports writers or whatever. You do not park anywhere near the field.
Be careful. Protect your property.
Very dangerous.
0-2 count on Ronaldo. Smith bounced that one. That was the old 60-foot fastball, bounced in front of the plate by about 6 inches. Smith is one down here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Somerville with a 5-run lead.
Looking around this big ballpark, and I look out in left field and center field. There actually are fans sitting in the bleachers out there.
The old Bob Uecker fans must be in the front row.
They're way out there.
You need a telescope from there. 1-2 pitch. Curveball inside. Smith showing that second pitch and looking for the strikeout. Couldn't get it. Curt Smith, a power pitcher, but can throw that curve to keep the hitters honest. Did it against Immaculata in the semis. Fastball ripped to center field for a base hit. And Sutton comes in to play it in. And Brian Ronaldo is on base with a single to center field.
And Ronaldo, his second hit of the night, again, has played some pretty good third base. Good-looking player.
And that'll bring up Dan Capsack, who struck out looking in his first at-bat. Capsack hitting .386 on the season. A lot of speed, which we saw in the outfield. Plays center field. Fastball bounded down to third base. Hoyta with a throw to second for one, down to first, but not in time. So Capsack stays out of the double play with that speed. Forced out at second as Hoyta went over to Mike Manning for the force.
Nicely done. Hoyta stayed with it, went to second alertly, and a good spin by Manning at second base. He took the throw and a good pivot, got it to first quickly.
So Capsack, who is quite speedy, down at first, but there's 2 down. He has 13 stolen bases this season. Fastball to Greg Urban, ball 1. Urban is 0 for 1, grounded out to second. Left-handed hitter. Smith checks Capsack and makes the throw. It is a big ball yard here in North Plainfield. 358 down the right field line, 361 down the left field line. And to center field, you need a bicycle to get out there.
Anybody's guess.
Yep.
Let's suffice to say it's far.
You kind of do it in kilometers, I think, getting out there. Fastball high. Falls behind 2-0. 2 down here in the bottom of the 4th. Dan Capsack on first base. For Watchung Hills Warriors looking to do some damage again. Watchung Hills' only run was unearned. Swinging strike 1. A lot of heat that time by Smith again, who can get upwards of 80 miles an hour.
Greg was the quarterback for the Watchung Hills football team this past year. Another one of those athletes. And there are many on both sides, as you pointed out.
Runner going. Straight back, fouled off. And Capsack will come back, and the count evens up at 2-2, more importantly, for Somerville.
Mario Diaz trying to get some life into the club, do something. He sent the runner on the 2-1 pitch. I like that move. His team will stagnate, down 6-1. Try to get something going.
And if it's a base hit, Capsack has the kind of speed where perhaps he could score from first. Runner going again, 2-2 in the dirt. Alina firing down on one hop, almost had him. Good tag by Mike Manning, but Capsack slid in ahead of the throw.
So now for the Warriors, base hit could score a run.
Greg Urban's going to try to do his part. 3-2 at the plate now. Smith doesn't want to lose Urban. Oh, tough call on the inside corner. Urban throws his bat, has a word with the umpire, but can't do much about it, and the side is retired. No runs on a hit, no errors, and one left on. 4 full innings in the books. Somerville leading Watchung Hills 6-1. We go to the top of the 5th of the Somerset County Championship game, and Somerville coming to the plate having scored in each of the previous 3 innings. Pioneers will try to extend that lead and tell you all about it. Here's Lou Brogno.
Thanks, Pete Haskell. For Somerville, here in the 5th inning, it's the bottom of the Pioneer order. Sutton, the center fielder, Davenhall, the right fielder, and Mike Manning, the second baseman. But Brian Sutton is having a pretty good night. 2 for 2. He singled sharply both times. That pitch way upstairs and over the head of the catcher, Greg Mobus. Ball 1. Ben Matzel, 8-0 on the year. Last year, he was an all-county pitcher, 7-2 with a 1.28 earned run average. He has had some terrific outings this year. A couple of one-hitters, couple of two-hitters. But tonight, Somerville has had his number. Swing and a miss. And the count 1-1.
It really is come unraveled to some extent for Ben Matzel. You saw that first pitch just really had no control on it. Second one certainly looked better, but he has had his problems.
There's a curve beautifully in, and the count 1-2. Well, what Matzel wants to do right here in the 5th inning is hold Somerville right there and give his club an opportunity to come back. They still have 3 at-bats, and they're down 5 runs. Curveball hit back to Matzel. He throws the first, and Sutton's retired for the first time tonight. 1 away.
Well, as you say, just want to get the outs, and after that first pitch by Matzel, which looked terrible, settled down a little bit there.
Here's John Davenhall. He has a single tonight, and he also drove in a run with a sacrifice fly to left field. Hit the ball sharply, so he's 1 for 1.
It is always tough for a club to come into a big tournament with such an extended winning streak. And Watchung Hills has won 19 in a row. You know, if I'm a coach, I don't want to go into a tournament with that long a winning streak, because aside from the pressure games, that streak puts even more pressure on you.
Pitch high and tight. It's tough also when you're involved in 2 different tournaments. You're playing in the county tournament, and you're also in the state tournament.
Head coaches always having to decide where they want to send their top pitcher.
Popped up towards the crowd. It's going to be a souvenir for someone. And it ends up in front of the press box.
People diving for cover over there.
Good crowd here tonight, we should mention. And especially since it is Memorial Day weekend, a lot of folks go on vacation, go down to the Jersey Shore, wherever. This one is chopped foul.
But what better way to spend a beautiful evening than at the old ball yard?
A beautiful Saturday evening, and it is terrific tonight. Very comfortable, no humidity.
3-0.
Couldn't ask for better weather for this championship game.
6-9.
2 balls, 2 strikes, the count to John Davenhall. 1 out, swing and a miss. Strike 3. So Matzel looking pretty sharp here in the 5th. Gets a ground out back to him, and then the strikeout. Now Mike Manning, the number 9 hitter in the Somerville order. He is 1 for 2. He had a beautiful bunt single his first time up, and then struck out in the third. Pitch is high, ball 1.
7 strikeouts now for Matzel. And we're in the 5th inning. Gives you an idea as to what kind of stuff he has. Hasn't always been on the plate tonight, but it shows he has good stuff.
Somerville 17-6 coming in. It's been another good year for them. They have had a very fine program over the last 5-6 years.
Now Somerville has the modest 4-game winning streak, which is a lot more easy to deal with. I think probably the best examples in recent years in terms of winning streaks, the last 2 NCAA tournaments. One with Nevada, Las Vegas, which everybody thought would win everything and struggled and lost, and then Duke, which had that winning streak and came out on top. And a lot of team members spoke about after the tournament the pressure involved with that winning streak.
Several winning streaks in central New Jersey this year. Obviously, Edison is still undefeated as of today. They were 21-0, I believe, and Middlesex 23-0. Of course, the Watchung winning streak as Manning walks. Matzel didn't want to do that. He walks the number 9 hitter in the order. Of course, the Watchung winning streak at 19. On the softball side, in girls softball, you know, Edison had that 40-game winning streak, and then they were defeated in the state tournament by Middletown North.
Boy, always a big disappointment when you make it that far and win that many games in a row, and when it comes down to crunch time, can't finish it out.
And I didn't see that game, but Middletown North must have a terrific team, because I'll tell you, that Edison girls softball team is one heck of a good team. I mean, to beat them, you've got to be something special.
Donna Witt, one of the top pitchers around.
Runner goes, throw to second is not in time as Manning steals the base. That was a good throw by Mobus. A little bit on the third base side, but he got it there in time.
Mobus has shown himself to be very good at blocking the ball, but does not have a lot of zip on that ball going down to second base. He can certainly get it out there, but doesn't really throw a bullet. Or at least we haven't seen one yet.
Yeah, that was his best throw of the night. So Elena hits a ground ball to short. And Paulchon has problems. Another Watchung error. So Elena reaches. And now, again, Matzel's got to be really saying something under his breath. He goes, oh, he gives Paulchon a little tap and says, hey, shake it off. And that's terrific, but you got runners at the corners. Here's Craig Fass. Now he is 0 for 2. He struck out in the first, walked in the second, reached on an error in the fourth.
We got a normal now, we got a normal.
That was the third error of the game for Watchung Hills. 2 of them coming in the fourth led to an unearned run.
Runner goes, no throw. Now runners at second and third. A base hit scores 2. So this is pretty much the way it's gone all night long for Watchung. A walk and an error, and runners at second and third. No balls, 1 strike to Craig Fass. Fouled away, swung at a high, hard one. And now the count's 0-2.
That was some serious high heat. And Matzel really, again, in a position where he really has to bear down. Somerville has just been running at will.
This one is hit high in the air towards right center field. The center fielder, though, Capsack, is there to make the catch. For the Pioneers in the 5th, no runs, no hits. There was 1 error and 2 left on. Middle of 5, 6-1, Somerville. There they are, the cheap seats, you might say. Way out in left field.
They should pay you to sit out there. It's so far away.
It is way out there. And there's some of the culinary delights here tonight from the hut.
Don't think about it, Lou.
All right, here we go to the bottom of the 5th. 3 more at-bats for Watchung. They're down 6-1. Scott Soletto, Ben Matzel, and Anthony Benish due up for the Warriors. Soletto's the designated hitter. 1 for 1, singled his first time up, came into the game hitting a lofty .607. Kurt Smith is sailing along. He's got a 5-run lead. Fastball pitcher delivers, and it's swung on and fouled back.
And again, keep in mind, the only run scored by Watchung Hills is an unearned run, so Smith really should be working on a shutout here.
0-1 the count. Smith checks in. Now he rocks and deals. Another fastball is in there for a strike. Soletto off somewhat, but didn't go around. 0-2.
It is fair to say that Smith can throw heat.
He gets it up there. 0-2 pitch. Nothing but heat. Outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. The outfield straightaway for the Pioneers. 1-2 pitch. Curveball sails high, and the count evens at 2-2. For Somerville, 3 runs in the second, 2 runs in the third, another in the fourth. Watchung scored a run in the second. That's where we are, 6-1.
And Smith hasn't walked a batter in this game. Has 3 strikeouts, but hasn't walked anybody. Good control.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Fastball that Soletto couldn't get around on, and there's 1 away.
And there, strikeout number 4 for Kurt Smith.
Number 16.
Smith has 3 strikeouts in the last 2 innings. Here's Ben Matzel. He's 0 for 1. Fastball high. 1 ball, no strikes.
And he's retired 8 of the last 9.
1-0 delivery. Ground ball hit towards second. Tough hop, but nicely played by the second baseman Manning. And there's 2 away.
I was wondering for a second if Manning was going to let that ball play him. He waited back on it instead of charging and had to deal with a little bit of a difficult hop, but made the play without a problem.
Here's Anthony Benish. He's 0 for 1. Benish hit a rocket to right field his first time up, but it was caught by the right fielder, Davenhall. Smith pitch, ground ball, hit the short. Tough play for Bergen, and I don't think they'll get him. They do not. Tough hop for Mike Bergen. And then the second baseman, Manning, did get a hold of it, picked it up through to first. And the official score is saying it is a hit.
A charitable call. Tough play to handle, no doubt about it. Could have gone either way.
No, the official score has changed the call now. It was a hit, now it is E6. E6, okay. Carl Barbati, our official scorer tonight. That one is chopped off of the face of the helmet of Paul John. I guess it was off the helmet. Rattled him more than anything else.
Yeah, I think it did. That play to shortstop was a very difficult play, but it was right to Bergen. Should have had it.
Joe Paulchon is 0 for 2. Grounded to short, popped to second. Pitch in the dirt, gets away from the catcher, Elena, and down to second. Goes Benish. This is where the Warriors really have to take advantage. They have a runner in scoring position, down 5. They've got to pick these runs up.
And that is not what Smith wanted to do after the E6. 2 down, though. That is to his advantage.
Pitch is low. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Smith is a 5-run lead and there's 2 down. He can't let himself worry about that runner on second base. Just has to deal with the batter.
2-1 pitch, swung on and missed, throw to second, and he's out! A bullet throw by Elena as he picks off Benish at second. For the Warriors in the 5th, no runs, no hits, nobody left on. We go to the 6th, 6-1 Somerville. Brilliant defense by Somerville as Eric Elena gunned down Benish at second base. He picked him off. A bullet throw.
And we see the difference between the catchers. Eric Elena firing the ball down there on a pickoff throw, and Greg Mobus, the sophomore for Watchung Hills, has had some trouble trying to hold off those Somerville base stealers, and Somerville really has been running at will, and that's been a big part of the Pioneers' offensive explosion this evening.
Now we go to the top of the 6th as the umpires try to fix the base at second. So that's what the momentary holdup is. It'll be the middle of the Somerville order to face Ben Matzel, Bergen, Mosher, and Hoyda.
Must have been a heck of a slide by Benish to kick up some dirt there. They want to make sure second base is
in there firmly. Yeah,
exactly.
It's just a peg that the base sits on as they try to place it in there. I think they've got it under control.
Well, groundskeeping effort by the umpires.
So the umpires really earning their paycheck tonight, as not only are they umping, but they're also doing some groundskeeping at second base.
Coming down.
All right, here we go. 6-1 the score. Somerville 17-6, winners of 4 in a row, leading 19-1 Watchung Hills, and winners of 19 in a row.
Somerville, 8 stolen bases on the evening. 5 innings, 8 stolen bases. That is very impressive, and it shows you something about the aggressive brand of baseball they're playing.
Shortstop.
All right, here's Bergen. Bergen's 1 for 3, grounded to second, grounded the first, and then had a bunt single in the 4th. Counts 1 ball, no strikes.
You get the impression, though, that Ben Matzel is going to learn a lot from this game.
Swing and a miss. Good-looking pitch there.
He's really struggled this evening, and there have been times when he's thrown a bad pitch and he makes an expression on his face where you think it's getting to him, but he's got to come back and throw strikes, and he is doing it to an extent. But again, he should learn a lot from this game.
Pitch is low, 2 balls and a strike.
He is just a sophomore.
Two-one delivery. Ground ball hit the third. Ronaldo keeps it in front of him. Now a low throw, scooped up nicely by the first baseman Benish. 1 away. Good play on both ends.
And Ronaldo has had a fine evening at third base. Boy, he gives up his body for that ball, gets in front of it, really textbook style, keeping in front of the baseball, and then making the play, and he took his time and made it, and as you mentioned, the good scoop by Benish over at first.
Here's Ron Mosher. Mosher's 2 for 3. He's had a good night, single twice. And then he flied deep to center, way back, but the center fielder Capsack backtracked and ran it down. No balls, 1 strike to Mosher. 0-1 pitch, curve in the dirt, 1-1.
Mosher, another one of those good athletes out here this evening. He's the starting quarterback for Pioneers during the football season.
Ripped up the middle, base hit. Mosher singles to center. That's his 3rd hit of the night. So Somerville has yet another runner on base. And Matt Hoyta
Third baseman, Matt Hoyta.
will come to the plate. Hoyta is 2 for 2, singled twice and walked. Mosher on base has good speed.
3 stolen bases already this evening. No reason why he shouldn't go now.
Throw over, and Mosher's back. Didn't have much of a lead that time, just stepping off of the base. But yeah, you would think he would be looking to go. Now he edges off the base a little bit more. Throw to the plate, pitch to the plate to be more precise, obviously. Is 1 ball, no strikes.
1-0. See if Rick Sable decides to send Ron Mosher. I'd send him until Greg Mobus starts throwing people out.
Mosher leads off first. There he goes. Throw down to second is a good one this time, but Mosher is in. He slides in under the tag. Pretty good throw that time by Mobus.
That was the best of the bunch, and it seems like each throw has been getting progressively better, but still Somerville 9 for 9 stealing tonight.
So Mosher, a single and a stolen base. He's in scoring position at second. And Hoyta with a count of 2 balls and no strikes on him. Only 1 out here in the top of the 6th inning.
Again, Matzel has to concern himself with the batter.
Ground ball, hit up the middle, base hit. And Mosher rounds third. He's on his way to the plate. Here comes the throw. It's offline, run scores. And going to second base is Hoyta. And the Pioneers lead 7-1.
Well, you see the importance of that stolen base as Mosher was in scoring position, and a similar hit to Mosher's hit right through the box. Dan Capsack came up throwing, but it was offline. And Somerville, with that aggressive brand of offense, coming up with another run.
So a runner at second. Still only 1 out. Here's Sek Milic. It's been a tough night for Sek. He has struck out 3 times. So he's looking to connect here against Matzel. Squares around the bunt, pitches in the dirt. And Mobus does a really good job to keep it in front of him and keep the runner from advancing.
It has been a heck of a night for Matt Hoyta. 3 for 3, 3 singles, a walk, 2 RBIs, and a stolen base.
Somerville leads 7-1 in the top of the 6th.
And it's been getting cliche to some extent, but Ben Matzel really has to bear down and concentrate on the batter.
Now he throws to second. Kind of a interesting move. So he kicked high and spun around through to second.
He is trying to keep Hoyta close. He's already in scoring position, doesn't want him to move up another base.
Fastball ripped down the right field line. It's in there for extra bases. Hoyta will score as he comes around third. On his way to second is Milic, and he's in with a double. 8-1 Somerville.
A slicing shot by Sek Milic, and Urban really had to go a long way to track it down. Greg Urban, though, doing a good job in keeping it to a double, because if that ball kept going, you're looking at a possible triple or maybe even an inside the park home run. Milic doesn't have great speed, so you probably wouldn't see that, but still a good play. We'll give some credit to Greg Urban to track that ball down.
And Sek Milic, who had a tough night against Matzel the first 3 times, finally comes through with the big double. That's our, you believe it? It's our first extra base hit of the night.
That is something.
Everything else has been singles. Pitch is low. No, actually, it's in there for a strike. I stand corrected. Brian Sutton is 2 for 3. He has singled twice. Still only 1 out and 2 in for Somerville here in the 6th. Swing and a miss at a pitch in the dirt. Sutton's not happy. And the count 0-2.
Have to give credit to Milic. He struck out 3 times, as you mentioned, and there's a tendency for batters to get frustrated, a little bit aggravated, a little bit over-anxious, and swing at bad pitches, but He waited and took it the opposite way for 2 bases.
Matzel checks the runner. 0-2 pitch is swung on, and just getting a piece of it is Sutton. And the count will remain no balls and 2 strikes.
It has been a long night for Ben Matzel.
You get the idea the Warriors are not going to want to watch the replay of this game.
I tend to agree with you on that one.
Swing and a miss. It gets by the catcher. He'll have to throw to first. Does. They get the out there. And the runner stays at second. Millage. So it's a strikeout. And then the put out goes 2-3. Catcher to first base.
And that is strikeout number 8 for Ben Matzel.
Here's Davenhall. John is 1 for 2. He singled, hit a sacrifice fly in the 3rd, and struck out in the 5th. There are 2 outs and a runner at second. It is 8-1 Somerville.
Matzel has thrown a lot of pitches in this game, but that last fastball really still had a lot of get up and go on it.
And a curveball hitting the hole. Tough play. Shortstop Paul John. Long throw. Did he get him? He did. Good play by Paul John in the hole as he guns down Davenhall. 4 Somerville in the 6th. 2 runs, 3 hits, and there was 1 left on. Middle of the 6th. Somerville 8, Watchung 1. There's the shot from center field. Somerville leading 8-1. We go to the bottom of the 6th and the top of the Watchung Hills order. Joe Paultjohn, Mike Cox, and Jim Bach. And it is an uphill battle now for the Warriors. They have just 2 chances left.
Kurt Smith has really lived up to advanced billing in this game. Quite a ball game.
He has been breezing. This is fouled away. Off the backstop, strike 1. 8-1 Somerville. Who would have thunk it?
Shortstop Joe Paljot.
Strike 2 as he swings and fouls it back. And, you know, we're talking about the fact that, you know, it's somewhat surprising that Somerville is leading 8-1, and we don't want to make it seem like it's a shock of the year. It is not. Somerville is 17-6. They've had a terrific year and obviously very capable of winning this game. But I think the way that the game has gone is somewhat surprising. It has been a dominant performance by Somerville. Watchung so far has just really not been in the game, Pete. They just haven't. They've won 19 in a row, coming in 19-1, but tonight, just a tough night. Popped up and fouled out of play, and the count 0-2.
And the thing that makes it even more interesting is the fact that in inning number 1, Matzel just mowed down Somerville, struck out the first 2 batters, a weak ground ball to second base. That was inning number 1. Then the Ville batted 9 in the 2nd inning, and they were off and running from there, off and running literally.
0-2 pitch in the dirt. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And again, Smith has not walked anybody. Very unusual, I guess you could say, in high school baseball to find pitchers with the kind of control that Kurt Smith has.
That pitch is high, and they count 2-2. And, you know, his performance has kind of gotten lost in the shuffle here so far because of Somerville's offensive heroics, but he has been most impressive against a good hitting club.
And you look down through the order, some of these batting averages.
This one ripped down the right field line, but it is foul. Way foul. And the umpire, the first base umpire, as he went to make the call, nearly slipped down.
A little test of balance.
A little wet out there or something. Some of the little fans running out to getting a souvenir.
You know, it's interesting. You talk about being a little wet out there. They watered down the infield before the game, and much of it, especially near first base, was very, very wet. A little muddy even, which is strange, but Somerville still with all those stolen bases.
And again, a rip down the right field line. And again, it is fair. This time it's fair. It curved, but went right inside the right field line, and Paul John doubles to right. Well, that one looked like it was going to go foul, and just bounced on the chalk line in right field. So Watchung Hills with their first extra base hit of the game as Paul John doubles to right. And now the Warriors might be able to get something going. They've got nobody out, runner at second. Here's Mike Cox. Cox comes in hitting .542. He's 0 for 2. Grounds at the short in the first, popped the second in the third.
Well, that's exactly how you want to do it. Get the leadoff man on and see if you can move him around.
Smith throws a heater at the knees, strike one.
Well, we talk about Matzel throwing hard late in the game. Same thing for Kurt Smith.
Checks the runner at second. Swing and a miss, and Cox really fooled on that pitch way out in front.
Well, I'll tell you something. You throw that fastball coming in at 80-plus miles an hour. Batter thinks he's going to see it again, and you throw the big hook, and
yeah, he's
you
gearing up.
End up looking a little bit silly out there, and that is not to fault Mike Cox, but really to credit Kurt Smith.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. Another curve, swing and a miss, and nope, they say foul ball. Joe Aranchik says that he got a piece of it, and Eric Galena, well, I don't think he agrees, but hard for us to tell from our angle.
I didn't see it to tell you that, but umpire's standing right there, and he's in control, so obviously his decision holds.
The left fielder, Jim Bob.
Whoops.
The PA announcer is announcing the next batter, and Cox is still in there. That's interesting.
He was fooled as well.
There's pitch is high, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Yeah, you got a couple chuckles from the crowd anyway.
Just one of those things. It is a wacky game sometimes.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. It's ripped down the third base line.
That was pretty profound, huh? A wacky game sometimes.
Sometimes.
Stayed up late last night thinking of that one.
Cox got around on that one, and he hit a rocket butt foul.
Well, based on what Paul John did with 2 rips toward right, the second one being fair, and what Cox has done, all of a sudden Smith looking a little bit more hittable than he has in the first 5.
Runner at second, nobody out. Pitch is low in the dirt. Counts 2-2. Now the Warriors have won a couple of games this year in come-from-behind fashion, so they're capable of scoring some runs in a hurry. 2-2 pitch. Ground ball ripped again down the third base line, and Cox is really getting around on these pitches now.
No doubt Warriors are capable of comebacks, but they are in a pretty deep hole right now, trailing by 7.
No doubt about that.
Of course, the advantage for them right now is, if you want to look at the bright side, there's nobody out, no runner in scoring position.
Kurt Smith, 4-2 on the year on the mound, trying to win his 5th. So obviously would be his biggest win of the year.
Another advantage is the top of the order for the Warriors. You want to get something going right now when you have your guns up there.
Swing and a miss, and Cox out in front. Again, Smith pulled the string on that one.
And that is strikeout number 5 for Kurt Smith.
1 out. Here's Jim Bach. PA announcer does not have to announce him since he already did. Left-handed hitter. He hits a shot towards left pretty deep. And going back and making the catch, the left fielder Milic gets it into third, and tagging up and going to third was Polchon. Pretty interesting play. Very big gamble there by Polchon to try to go to third on a fly ball to the left, down by 7 runs. You don't want to make the third out at third base.
Boy, you certainly don't. On the flip side, just to give him the benefit of the doubt, playing very aggressive baseball. But you're right, very, very strange maneuver, as we've spoken about, I guess, just trying to make things happen.
Here's Ronaldo. And Brian has had a good night. 2 for 2 against Kurt Smith. He has not had any trouble figuring him out. Runner at third, 2 outs. There's a strike. No balls, 1 strike. Watchung would like to get that runner home, but they need a whole lot more than that.
And Ronaldo leads the team in runs batted in with 23, also hitting .357. And he has a very, very bright future for this club, just a sophomore.
And he lines it into center, base hit. Run scores, Brian Ronaldo. 3 for 3, and he drives in a run. It's 8-2.
And you see the importance of Joe Polchon tagging up on that fly ball to medium left field.
Fifth hit of the night for Watchung Hills. Here's Dan Kapsak. Kapsak is 0 for 2. He struck out and hit into a force play. Let's see if Ronaldo tries to get down to second in scoring position. Elena's got a pretty good arm.
Dan Kapsak is the son of Assistant Middlesex County Prosecutor Tom Kapsak. Also has a twin brother on the team, Chris Kapsak.
Swing and a miss. Ball gets away. Elena guns to second. And getting in is Ronaldo.
Boy, Elena really showing confidence in his arm one more time. That ball took a bounce around, and he still decided to fire it down to second.
Pretty good throw. 2 outs, runner at second. Smith lines, delivers, ground ball, hit foul. Past head coach Mario Diaz.
With 2 down and a runner in scoring position, you know the Warriors really feel that if they're going to have a chance of this game, they're going to need to plate that runner at second base. Still an uphill battle either way, though.
Popped up in the infield, sky high, and the first baseman Bass makes the catch. So that'll do it for Watchung in the 6th. 1 run, 2 hits, and 1 left on. End of the 6th. It is 8-2 Somerville. We go to the top of the 7th. It'll be the bottom of the Somerville order, starting with second baseman Mike Manning, and then back up top to Eric Olena and Craig Fass. They'll face Ben Matzel, who is still in there for the Warriors.
Second baseman, number 12, Mike Manning.
His club trailing 8-2. Manning is 0 for 2. He had actually 1 for 2, excuse me. He had a bunt single in the second and struck out in the third. Walked. And he bunts again, a beauty. Matzel picks it up, throws, safe at first as Manning dives into first base. Good hustle by Mike Manning.
Interesting story about Mike Manning. He was injured earlier, and it was not a baseball-related injury, at the prom, dancing wildly next to one of his teammates who hit him in the face. Had to take him to the hospital. He broke his nose.
Brother.
And then I tell you, talk about some strange stories, and apparently, of course, is the key word, there was no horseplay involved.
Swing and a miss by Elena.
But if you're Rick Sable and you're sitting home and the phone rings and it's prom night and you hear that your starting second baseman is at the hospital and has a broken nose, you have to start asking some questions about what was going on over there.
Well, he leads off first, dives back in.
I know if I were Rick Sable, I'd be asking a lot of questions.
There's strike 2. Elena is 0 for 4. He struck out in the first, grounded back to the pitcher in the second, line to center in the fourth, reached on an error in the fifth.
Good defensive game, though. And you know, that is such an important defensive position. Rick Sable lets him call every game.
Does an outstanding job. Eric Elena.
Another one of those 3 sports stars, also plays football and wrestles. Tough football player.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3. One out, runner at first. Here's Craig Fass, left-handed hitter. He is 0 for 3. Struck out in the first, walked in the second, reached on an error in the fourth, flied to center in the fifth. There goes Manning. Here's the throw. He is safe at second. Stolen base.
That should be stolen base number 10. 10 for 10.
There is Craig Mobus, who's looking down towards our camera. He's got that look on his face like he says it's been one long night.
Yeah. Wouldn't be surprised if his eyes are glazed over a little bit from the type of evening it's been.
This is ripped towards our third base camera. Fortunately, away from our third base camera.
No harm done. It has been a tough evening for this whole Warrior team.
Crowd very quiet. They're trying to figure out this game too. That's a base hit. Left field gets by the left fielder. And a run will score. Manning comes to the plate. And into second is Craig Fass. It is 9-2.
Well, Jim Bach is out there wondering what the heck happened. He came in charging the ball, and it just took a wicked hop directly away from him. And earlier in the game, we saw some problems out in right field with the ball taking funny hops. That was not Bach's fault at all. That one just bounced to his right, and he didn't have a chance at it.
So another base hit for the Pioneers. Pitch in the dirt. Good job by Mobus to pick it up out of the dirt. Keeps the runner at second. One out. Another run in. Fastball in there for a strike. Mike Bergen is 1 for 4. Grounds it to second, to first, to third. And he had a bunt single.
He's been all over the infield.
Everything on the ground. Pitch low in the dirt. 2 balls, 1 strike to count. 9-2, Somerville here in the top of the 7th inning. Swing and a miss. And the count 1-2. High, hard fastball by Matzel.
I have to give Matzel a lot of credit. It has been a tough evening for him, but he is still out there and still throwing strikes and still throwing pretty hard.
Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Wow.
And that one might have been the fastest pitch that Matzel's thrown all night.
He is throwing some serious heat out there.
Designated hitter Ron Mosier.
Second strikeout of the inning. Here's Mosier. Ron is 3 for 4. He has singled 3 times. and fly to deep center. So he has had a very productive night. And he gets hit with the pitch on the elbow. I'm not happy at all about it as he heads down to first. He's still glaring at Matzel. Obviously, well, I shouldn't say obviously, but I would doubt that Ben was throwing it. Sure.
You would certainly hope not, but
No.
Mosher has had a good evening, 3 for 4.
I think he was just trying to get inside on him, and it just got away. Here's Matt Hoyda. Three for 3 on the night for Hoyda. He skies it to right field. The right fielder, Urban, makes the catch, and that'll do it. But the Pioneers get 1 run on 2 hits, and there were 2 left on. We go to the bottom of the 7th. 9-2 Somerville. Back here at North Plainfield's Crouch Field. 9-2 Somerville leads. Want to thank Frank Matullo, the athletic director at Watchung Hills High School and the chairman of the Somerset County Tournament, for all his help. Also John Mistalish, who is the athletic director here at North Plainfield. Brian Gage, the coach, for their help. Helping us do our job here. Just passed a note from Carl Barbati of the Courier News. Thank you, Carl. Somerville's 15 hits tonight ties county final record set by Bernard's in 1986. Ground ball gets away from Manning. And Greg Urban is on. So Somerville with 15 hits, that ties the county record, county final record. Mountaineers had 15 hits in 1986. Here's Scott Soletto, singled and struck out, 1 for 2. Runner at first, nobody out. Fastball in there for a strike, 0-1. It'll be Soletto, then Matzel and Benish.
Joe Ranchik, the home plate umpire, still showing that early game form behind the plate on those called strikes.
1 ball, 1 strike to count. Smith wants to slam the door here. Gives Somerville a county title. Ground ball hit to third. Good play. They throw to second for 1. Back to first. Not in time. Hoyda made a good play. Got it to second. Manning made the pivot. So they get the force at second. And there's 1 out.
Nice play by Hoyda, and I tell you, Craig Fass has shown a great stretch over at first base on several occasions.
So Soletto is now on at first. Here's Ben Matzel. Ben is 0 for 2. There's a strike. No balls, 1 strike. Approaching 2.5 hour mark, 2.5 hour mark of this game. Pretty long game.
It sure has been.
Pitch is low, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike.
Of course, you put 11 runs up on the board. It's going to take some time.
A lot of base runners. 9-2 Somerville. Bottom of the 7th. Runner at first, 1 out. Ground ball chopped to short. Bergen to second for 1. Back to first. Not in time. They did make the tag, and the runner, actually, it looks like Manning, the second baseman, is hurt at second base. Hope it's not serious.
Soletto came in and took him out.
He seems to be a little bit better now, but he was in quite a bit of pain. Might have got spiked, is what we hear at second. And now he gets up. Boy, that hurts. He'll run it off. Somerville almost turned a double play to end the ball game there. Throw pulled the first baseman Fass off the bag. He made the tag, but too late. So now Watchung Hills is down to their last out. Runner at first, 2 outs. And Anthony Benish, who's 0 for 2, lined to right and reached on an error, will be at the plate. Somerville looks to slam the door here and win their first title since 1987. And it's ripped towards center, coming in. Did he get it? He did! What a catch by Sutton. And Somerville wins the Somerset County Championship. What a way to end the game.
That's the way you want to do it in dramatic fashion. The bats were swinging all day. The runners were doing well. Kurt Smith with a great game. And boy, I tell you, that's just kind of like icing on the cake.
So Sutton with a great diving catch in center field wins it. And Somerville wins the county title. The Pioneers improved to 18-6. Watchung Hill's 19-game winning streak comes to an end. They now are 19-2, and of course they still have the state tournament to look forward to. Somerville 9 runs. They had 15 hits actually, and 3 errors. Watchung Hills 2 runs, 7 hits, 3 errors. The final score once again, Somerville 9, Watchung Hills 2. Pete Haskell, any quick comments before we close out?
Just a great game by Somerville. Have to credit the Pioneers' aggressiveness, and that's one thing that Rick Sable likes to do, have his players going. And Ron Mosier and Matt Hoyta each had 3 hits on the evening. They hit in the 4 and 5 spots, and just the aggressiveness and of course the pitching of Kurt Smith, who was just marvelous through the whole game.
So Smith is now 5-2, and for Mansell, his first loss of the year. He is now 8-1. Congratulations to the Somerville Pioneers. They are Somerset County champions. For Pete Haskell and the rest of the Channel 6 Sports crew, glad you could join us here for the Somerset County final. The final score again, Somerville 9, Watchung Hills 2. Good night, everyone.